Good evening and welcome to the News Roundup for Tuesday, February 28. I am Abigail Smythe. Among the stories in this evening's newscast, one Don Klansman trial halts as defendant urinates in courtroom. Security guard shot and killed in Montego Bay. Another security guard falls from moving vehicle and dies on Portmore Toll. Farmer robbed of his goats and killed in Clarendon. Consumers being warned to brace for increase in fruits and vegetable prices. In business, GDP in finance and insurance services industry grows by 1%. In the region, Cayman Islands facing complex range of risks from climate change. Further overseas, surviving relatives of UK family that owned slaves apologize for the actions of their forefathers. And in sports, Austria captain David Alaba receives backlash for not voting for Benzema for Player of the Year at FIFA Awards.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. A security guard has died as a result of injuries he sustained after falling from a moving vehicle Tuesday morning. He has been identified as 27-year-old Nathaniel Johnson of 2 West in Greater Portmore, St. Catherine. Reports from the Hunts Bay Police are that about 6:45 a.m., Johnson was traveling on a public passenger bus along the Portmore Toll Road when he complained of feeling unwell and in need of air. He proceeded to open the door and shortly after fell from the vehicle. He was pronounced dead at hospital. The investigations are ongoing. And a 43-year-old security guard was shot and killed by a gunman in downtown Montego Bay, St. James on Monday. He has been identified as Dwayne Russell of Bamboo District in Hanover. It is reported that about 12:15 p.m., Russell left his base in Spring Gardens, St. James, where he was employed by Hawkeye Electronic Security Limited and went to purchase items in Montego Bay. While walking back to the bus park, he was pounced upon by a gunman at the intersection of Strand Street and Church Lane. The gunman opened fire, hitting Russell in the head before fleeing the area on foot. Russell was later pronounced dead at hospital. A man was gunned down along Railway Lane in Montego Bay, St. James, Monday night. He is Trevon Lawson, otherwise called Spengweng, of a Montego Bay address. The Barnett Street Police say the shooting happened about 7:10 p.m. The police say Lawson was standing among a group of persons along the roadway when a white Toyota Axiom motorcar pulled up beside them. The windows of the vehicle rolled down and the occupants opened fire, hitting Lawson multiple times before speeding away. The police were summoned and Lawson was rushed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. The St. Anne police are probing the circumstances surrounding the death of an unidentified male whose body was discovered along a dirt track in Windsorland Settlement District in the parish on Monday. Reports are that around 7:20 a.m., a resident stumbled on the body and summoned the law enforcement officials. On the arrival of the cops, the man was seen with what appeared to be gunshot wounds. The body was removed to the morgue and the scene was processed. Investigations are ongoing. Police have theorized that a goat farmer who was found dead in Rymesbury District, Clarendon, Monday morning was taken to the area and killed by thieves. The body of 37-year-old Jerome Morgan, otherwise called Budup, from Harrison Town in Milk River in the parish, was discovered by residents who called the police. Investigations revealed that Morgan was last seen around 1 p.m. on Sunday when he went to feed his goats. However, neither Morgan nor the goats returned. About 10:30 Monday morning, residents stumbled upon the farmer's body and summoned the police. The police have theorized that Morgan was robbed of his goats and taken to Rymesbury where he was killed. One of 26 defendants in the Klansman one-don gang trial has been freed from criminal charges and being part of a criminal organization. He is Carl Beach. Trial judge Chief Justice Brian Sykes says the evidence against Beach was not substantial. Beach was charged with conspiracy to murder, and being part of a criminal organization. A total of 6 defendants have now been freed. And the Wandon Klansman trial was abruptly halted Tuesday morning after one of the defendants, Ted Prince, urinated in the courtroom. Prince, who was seated in the courtroom with other defendants, raised his hands indicating that he wanted to use the bathroom. But less than a minute later, Prince, who is nursing a broken arm, jumped over the bench he was sitting on, faced the wall, and started to urinate. A stunned silence swept through the courtroom. Chief Justice Brian Sykes, who was in the middle of his summation, immediately took a health break. Following the disruption, the matter went to recess. Court staff manning the area have expressed dismay at the actions of the defendant, who walked out with his co-accused with an air of defiance. Prince has been sporting an injured arm for several weeks following a fracas at the correctional facility where he is being held. Prince is charged with murder and being part of a criminal organization. Chief Justice Brian Sykes has given the clearest indication yet of being satisfied with evidence, suggesting that Andre Blackman Bryan is the leader of the alleged Wandon Klansman gang. Justice Sykes was examining an indicted incident in 2017, which was mentioned by one of the Crown's key witnesses. Justice Sykes says based on the evidence presented concerning that incident, he says that a criminal organization existed. In outlining his findings, Justice Sykes noted that unindicted acts of criminality can be used to prove the existence of a criminal organization. Justice Sykes is still examining evidence. The Police Federation has again taken the Firearms Licensing Authority, FLA, to task for denying applications of cops seeking to obtain private firearms. Chairman of the Federation, Corporal Rowan James, says the police need to be equipped with the necessary resources to protect themselves following several attacks by criminals on members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. He notes that within a 12-day period, 5 police officers were attacked, one of whom died. Recalling the alleged denial of a gun permit to a police officer because of the community in which he lives, Corporal James argues that the reasons being given by the FLA for denying some police officers a gun license are, quote, simply not cutting it, end quote. The chairman asserts that with the lives of law enforcement officers constantly at risk, they are to be afforded the opportunity to keep themselves safe. Consumers are being warned to brace for an increase in the price of fruits and vegetables as drought conditions worsen across the island. The drought, which has forced the National Water Commission to implement water restrictions across much of the corporate area, is beginning to bite in the breadbasket parish of St. Elizabeth. Over 300 farmers in St. Elizabeth are having difficulty accessing water. And while the Agriculture Ministry is spending about $4 million trucking water to the worst affected areas, the farmers say it is not enough. One farmer says the price of agricultural produce is certain to rise as drought conditions worsen. Another farmer says given the costs associated with procuring water, farmers will have no choice but to pass on the expenses to consumers. And bank customers could face new challenges accessing cash through automated teller machines, ATMs, in high-risk areas in light of an increase in attacks by criminals. The latest attack occurred on Monday in Portmore Pines Plaza, St. Catherine, when guards employed by Beryllium Security Company were shot and robbed of about $10 million while delivering cash to the JN Bank branch. One guard was killed and 2 others injured. The Jamaica Bankers Association, in response, says an assessment of the threat levels at ATMs island-wide has started. President of the association, Septimus Blake, says the changes could include fewer ATMs at some locations. He says steps will be taken to plug the security gaps in the delivery of cash to ATMs. In business news, gross domestic product in the finance and insurance services industry grew in the October to December quarter. Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry, says preliminary estimates showed marginal growth of 1%. He says the performance was influenced by higher net interest income and fees and commission income, facilitated by a rise in economic activity and growth in business and consumer confidence. In the region, the Cayman Islands are facing a complex range of risks from climate change. The government will need to make some significant decisions in the short term if it is going to protect the country in the long term. Key threats from rising, warmer seas and bigger, more intense storms identified by researchers in the climate change risk assessment conducted last year will cause coastal erosion, flooding, the destruction of buildings, and the salinization of the water lenses. A comprehensive report on the risks posed to Cayman by climate change, which was published last week, identified at least 50 direct threats for the island and noted 18 as severe. Most of the problems that residents will face will be as a result of rising sea levels and bigger, more dangerous weather events such as hurricanes and storms. On the international scene, surviving relatives of a family in the United Kingdom who, in the 18th and 19th centuries, jointly owned approximately 1,200 slaves on 6 plantations in 3 different parishes in Grenada, apologized on Monday for the actions of their forefathers. Signed by 7 members of the Trevelyan family, including well-known BBC correspondent Laura Trevelyan, the letter describes slavery as a crime that was and continues to be a crime against humanity. The ceremony was also used to launch a fund in which Ms. Trevelyan has personally committed to giving £100,000 to the local reparations committee. And finally, in sports, Austria captain David Alaba says a team decision caused him to vote for Lionel Messi over his Real Madrid teammate Karim Benzema as Men's Player of the Year at the Best FIFA Awards. Defender Alaba received abuse on social media for not choosing Benzema. Argentina forward Messi won the accolade on Monday ahead of France forwards Kylian Mbappe and Benzema. FIFA released the list of who voted for whom at the awards. Alaba voted for Benzema second and Mbappe third, promoting the hashtag #AlabaOut to trend on social media. Benzema and Alaba have played together at Madrid since the latter joined from Bayern Munich in 2021. National team coaches, captains, journalists, and global fans voted for the award. And that's it for your news roundup for today. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a good evening and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right here. Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!